Invest money after 40, 7 smart moves to build wealth fast, before 50. Turning 40 isn't a midlife crisis, it's a financial wake-up call. You've got 1 decade to build the wealth that determines whether you retire comfortably or work until you drop. Most people waste their 40s panicking about gray hair and buying sports cars. Meanwhile, a few quietly build more wealth in their 40s than they did in their entire 30s. Because urgency plus strategy beats time every single time. Here's the truth. You're not too late. But you are out of time to mess around. The average person in their 40s has under $50,000 saved for retirement. That's not a nest egg, that's a down payment on panic. But here's what you're probably wondering. Is it really possible to catch up after 40? What do you do differently when time is short but the stakes are high? Which moves actually accelerate wealth at this age? And how do you build fast without taking stupid risks? Today, I'm breaking down 7 smart moves that build wealth fast, before 50 hits and retirement becomes real. Hit subscribe and comment Wealth at 40 if you're ready to make this decade count. Let's start with the move most people avoid. Move number 1. Why your 40s are your last shot. Let me hit you with some uncomfortable math. If you're 40 with $50,000 saved for retirement, and you retire at 65 with that money growing at 8% annually, you'll have about $250,000. Sounds okay? It's not. That's barely 10 years of living expenses if you're being frugal. You're not retiring, you're just changing the setting where you're broke from at work to at home. Here's the reality nobody wants to say out loud. Your 40s are your last legitimate shot at building serious wealth before retirement planning becomes damage control. You've still got compound interest on your side, but barely. You need to feed that beast aggressively, consistently, and immediately. No more, I'll start next year. Next year, you're 41 and the runway just got shorter. Think of it like halftime in a game where you're losing. You're not out of time, but you are out of time to keep playing the same way and expect different results. The second half requires urgency, strategy, and 0 wasted possessions. So what do you actually do? First, face the number. Calculate how much you need for retirement. Most experts say you need about 25 times your annual expenses saved. If you need $60,000 a year to live, that's $1.5 million. Now look at what you have. The gap between those two numbers, that's your mission for the next 10 years. Second, commit to ruthless discipline. You need to be saving 25 to 40% of your income if you're behind. Yes, that will hurt. That's how you know it's working. Your 40s should feel financially uncomfortable if you're catching up. Comfortable 40s lead to desperate 60s. Your action. This week, run the retirement calculator. Face the truth. Write down the gap. Then, multiply your current savings rate by 3 and make that your new normal. You're not late. You're at halftime. But halftime doesn't last forever, and the second half is about to start, whether you're ready or not. But that's just the obvious part, because acknowledging the problem is step 1. Step 2 is using the one loophole the government actually created to help people exactly like you. Move number 2, the catch-up loophole. The IRS actually wants you to use. Here's something hilarious in a dark way. The IRS, the same people who want to tax everything you own, created special contribution limits for people over 50. Why? Because they looked at the data and went, oh no, these people are screwed. We'd better give them extra rope or they'll be broke in our problem. That's right, the government knows you're behind, and they're offering help. Starting at 50, you can contribute an extra $7,500 to your 401k and an extra $1,000 to your IRA annually. That's not a bonus. That's the IRS admitting that normal contribution limits aren't enough for people who wasted their 30s. They're literally saying, you're behind, here's a head start, please don't retire broke. And yet, most people don't use it. They hit 50, qualify for catch-up contributions, and keep contributing the same amount they did at 49. That's like getting invited to take extra swings at the plate and saying, nah, I'm good with my current batting average. Let me show you what you're leaving on the table. Max catch-up contributions for 10 years from 50 to 60. That's an additional $75,000 in your 401k alone. At 8% growth, that turns into $160,000 by 65. You just added $160,000 to your retirement by using money you were already earning, just redirected. The formula is simple. The moment you turn 50, immediately increase contributions to max the catch-up limit. Not when it's convenient, not after the holidays. Immediately. Automate it so you can't talk yourself out of it. Your move. If you're under 50, mark your 50th birthday in your calendar with a reminder, max catch-up contributions. If you're already 50, call HR tomorrow and increase your contributions. This is free money from the government to fix your mistake. Take it, because the government rarely helps you get richer. When they do, you listen. And what I'm about to say is what makes the difference, because maxing contributions is critical. But if you're investing that money too conservatively, you're still losing the game. Move number 3. Why playing it safe in your 40s is the riskiest move. Here's the lie financial advisors tell people in their 40s. You're getting older, so play it safe. Move to bonds, reduce risk. Sounds responsible, right? It's not. It's a guaranteed path to broke at 70. Let me explain the math that destroys this advice. You're 45. You retire at 65. That's 20 years. Then you live until 85. That's another 20 years. Your money needs to work for 40 years. 40 years. And you're going to put it in bonds earning 3% because you're playing it safe? Safe from what? Growth? Because that's what you're avoiding. You're protecting yourself from the exact thing that would save you. Here's the truth that scares people but is absolutely correct. If you're behind in your 40s, you cannot afford to be conservative. Conservative investing guarantees you'll run out of money. Aggressive investing gives you a fighting chance. You have 10 to 20 years before you touch this money. That's enough time to weather market crashes, recessions, and volatility. What it's not enough time for is 3% bond returns to save you from a 6-figure retirement savings gap. At 45, you should still be 70 to 80% stocks. At 50, maybe 70%. At 55, maybe 60%. You dial back slowly, not all at once, because some financial advisor said you're older now. I know someone who went conservative at 40, put everything in bonds and cash. He's 55 now and has barely grown his retirement in 15 years. Meanwhile, his friend, who stayed aggressive through multiple crashes, up 300% in the same time frame despite living through 2008 and 2020. Your action. Look at your current allocation. If you're under 55 and have less than 70% in stocks, you're too conservative. Rebalance immediately. Accept volatility as the price of growth, because the alternative is guaranteed failure. Playing it safe at 40 doesn't protect you. It condemns you. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. Because growing money is half the equation. But if you're drowning in debt, you're bailing water into a sinking ship. If you're over 40 and behind on retirement savings, drop your age in the comments. Let's see who's really out here building. Move number 4. Why every dollar of debt costs you $3 of freedom. Here's the math that should make you angry. If you're carrying 18% APR on a credit card balance, while your retirement account earns 10%, you're not building wealth. You're actively destroying it at an 8% loss rate. That's like running on a treadmill that's moving backwards faster than you're running forward. Let me show you what debt actually costs. Say you have $20,000 in credit card debt at 18%. You're paying $3,600 in interest annually. If you paid that debt off and invested those monthly payments instead at 10% for 10 years, you'd have over $61,000. That one debt isn't costing you $20,000. It's costing you $61,000 in lost wealth. 3 times the original amount. That's why I call it the $3 rule. Every dollar of high-interest debt costs you roughly $3 of future freedom. You're not just paying back what you owe, you're paying the opportunity cost of what that money could have become. And here's the part that makes me want to flip a table. People in their 40s will religiously contribute to their 401k, earning 8% while carrying credit card debt at 20%. That's not financial planning. That's financial self-harm. You're funding your future with one hand while setting it on fire with the other. The move is simple but painful. Debt avalanche. Attack the highest interest debt first with every spare dollar. Yes, this means temporarily reducing retirement contributions to the minimum employer match. I know that feels wrong, but paying 18% debt is mathematically a better return than earning 10% in the market. Your action. List all debts by interest rate. Throw every extra dollar at the highest rate until it's dead. Then move to the next. Scorched earth policy. No mercy. You can't build wealth with debt on your neck. It's not possible. One has to die first. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Credit card debt is obvious, but there's one debt most people carry without questioning whether they should eliminate it before retirement. Move number 5, the stealth wealth builder. Nobody talks about. Here's the debate that divides financial nerds. Should you pay off your mortgage early or invest the extra payments? And here's my answer for people in their 40s. It depends, but the math leans toward paying it off, for one reason nobody talks about. Eliminating your mortgage before retirement doesn't just remove a payment, it dramatically reduces how much money you need saved to retire. If your mortgage is $2,000 a month, that's $24,000 a year. To generate that in retirement at a 4% withdrawal rate, you need $600,000 saved just for the mortgage. But if you pay off the house, that $600,000 requirement disappears. You just lowered your retirement number by over $500,000 by eliminating one payment. That's not sexy investing advice. That's financial invincibility. I know the math bros will scream, but the market returns 8% and your mortgage is 4%. You're losing 4% by paying it off early. And they're technically right in a spreadsheet. But here's what spreadsheets don't capture. The psychological piece of entering retirement with zero housing payment is worth more than the mathematical difference. Plus, let's be honest, are you actually investing that extra money, or is it getting absorbed into lifestyle? Because if you're not disciplined enough to invest the difference, then paying off the mortgage forces the savings. Here's my framework. If you're behind on retirement and have high discipline, keep the mortgage and invest aggressively. If you're behind and struggle with discipline, pay off the house. The guaranteed return of eliminating the payment beats the theoretical return you won't actually achieve. Your move. Calculate your mortgage payoff timeline. Run the numbers both ways. If paying extra $250 monthly gets you mortgage-free at 63 instead of 72, strongly consider it. There's no feeling like owning your home free and clear when you retire. It's not optimal on paper, it's optimal in reality. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. Because whether you're paying debt or building wealth, there's one truth about your 40s that nobody wants to hear. Move number 6. Why your 40s should feel uncomfortable. Let me say something that'll make you hate me, but is absolutely true. If your 40s feel financially comfortable, you're doing it wrong. If you're behind on retirement, and statistically you probably are, your 40s should feel like you're living below your means. Because you are. Intentionally. Here's the uncomfortable truth. To catch up, you need to be saving 25 to 40% of your gross income. Not net, gross. That means half your take-home or more is going to savings, debt payoff, and investments. The other half? That's your entire life. Housing, food, utilities, entertainment, everything. Does that sound restrictive? Good. That's the point. You're not saving for fun. You're saving because you wasted your 30s and now you're paying the catch-up tax. Think of it like training for a marathon you forgot you signed up for. It's 6 months away. You're out of shape. Training is going to hurt. Your lungs will burn. Your legs will scream. But that discomfort is the only thing standing between you and failing spectacularly on race day. Your 40s are a financial training montage. No vacations to Cancun, no new cars, no renovations, no keeping up with anyone. You're in debt-crushing, wealth-building, catch-up mode. And if your friends think you're cheap or boring, they can enjoy their company at 75 when they're still working and you're not. Here's the math that makes it worth it. Every dollar you save in your 40s becomes $3 to $5 by retirement with compound growth. That restaurant meal you skipped for $15? That's $75 in retirement. That car upgrade you postponed? That's $15,000 in freedom later. Your move: audit your spending. Cut everything that isn't essential or doesn't bring genuine joy. Redirect savings to debt and investments. Accept that your 40s will feel tight because loose 40s create desperate 60s. If your 40s feel comfortable, your 60s will feel desperate. Choose your hard. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. Because cutting spending accelerates wealth, but adding income? That's the multiplier that changes everything. What's one expense you cut in your 40s to accelerate wealth building? Share below. Move number 7. Why one extra stream changes everything. Here's the thing about being in your 40s. You're finally good at something. You've got skills, experience, and a reputation. You know things 25-year-olds don't. And yet most people in their 40s only monetize those skills 40 hours a week at one job. That's leaving money on the table when the table is on fire and you need every dollar. Let me show you the math that should motivate you. One side income generating an extra $1,000 monthly. Invested at 10% for 10 years. That's $230,000 by the time you're 55. One extra income stream just funded $250,000 of your retirement. But here's the beautiful part about being 40 plus. You don't need to invent a new skill. You just need to package the one you already have. You're a teacher, tutor online. You're in marketing, consult for small businesses. You're good at Excel, freelance financial modeling. You have a skill worth money, you're only selling it to one buyer. I know someone who kept his corporate job but started consulting on weekends. 3 clients, 10 hours a week, $1,800 a month. Over 8 years, he invested every penny. That side income alone became over $300,000. Same skills he used at work, just sold to different buyers on his own terms. And here's the part people miss. Your day job funds your life. Your side income funds your freedom. Don't touch it. Don't upgrade your lifestyle. Don't treat yourself. Every dollar from side income is a freedom dollar. It goes straight to investments or debt. Your move: write down your most valuable skill. Google freelance your skill and spend 1 hour this week exploring how to monetize it. You're not building a second career. You're building an income multiplier for 10 years. Your 40s are your peak earning years. One job is underutilizing your peak. Add one more stream, watch what happens. Because your day job is your floor. Your side income is your ceiling, and right now your ceiling is way too low. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. Because you can build all the wealth in the world, but there's one cost in retirement that destroys more nest eggs than market crashes. The cost nobody plans for. Let me tell you about the retirement destroyer nobody sees coming: healthcare. The average couple retiring at 65 will spend over $315,000 on healthcare throughout retirement. Read that again. $315,000. That's not optional spending. That's just staying alive. And yet most people plan for retirement like healthcare is free after 65. I'll have Medicare. Yeah, you will. And Medicare covers about 60% of your costs if you're lucky. The other 40%? That's premiums, copays, prescriptions, dental, vision, and long-term care. It adds up fast, and it only goes one direction: up. Here's the dark humor. You spend your 40s destroying your body with stress, bad food, and no exercise to build wealth. Then, you spend your retirement wealth paying to fix the body you destroyed, building wealth. It's the circle of financial life, and it's expensive. But there's one vehicle that's basically a cheat code for healthcare costs, the Health Savings Account, HSA. If you have a high-deductible health plan, you can contribute to an HSA with triple tax advantages. You deduct contributions, it grows tax-free, you withdraw tax-free for medical expenses. That's 3 tax advantages stacked on one account. The IRS never does that unless they really want you to use it. Max HSA contributions are about $8,000 for families. Do that from 40 to 65, that's $200,000 plus growth, completely tax-free for healthcare. You just solved the $315,000 problem. Your move. Check if you have a high-deductible health plan. If yes, open an HSA immediately and max it every year. Treat it like a retirement account, specifically for healthcare, because that's what it is. Healthcare will eat your retirement alive if you don't plan for it. The HSA is how you fight back. And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Because all these moves are great, but you need to know what target you're actually aiming for. The reality check, what behind actually means. Okay, let's have the conversation nobody wants. How much should you actually have saved by 50? Because behind is subjective until you know the benchmark, and the benchmark is probably higher than you want to hear. Fidelity, the retirement planning people who've seen it all, suggests you should have 6 times your annual salary saved by 50. Let me translate that. If you make $100,000 a year, you should have $600,000 by 50. If you make $75,000, $450,000. Now look at your current balance. If the number you see is significantly lower than 6 times your salary, congratulations. You're officially behind. Not a little behind. Not catching up soon. Behind enough that the next 10 years need to be intense. And here's the part that makes it worse. That's just to maintain your current lifestyle in retirement. If you want to retire earlier or live better, add more. If you want to leave something to your kids, add even more. The 6 times rule is the baseline, not the goal. But here's the good news hiding in the bad news. Knowing the gap is half the battle. Most people drift into their 50s with no idea they're behind until it's too late to fix. You're reading this in your 40s. You still have time if you act now. The gap between where you are and where you should be determines your new savings rate. Behind by $200,000? That's $20,000 a year for 10 years. Behind by $400,000? That's $40,000 a year. The math is brutal but honest. Your move. Calculate 6 times your current salary. Compare it to your actual retirement savings. The difference is your deficit. Divide by 10. That's your minimum annual savings target. Face the number. Then attack it like your retirement depends on it, because it does. Wait, the most important part is in the following story. Because numbers and strategies are critical, but there's a mindset shift that determines whether you actually execute or just read and forget. If you could go back and tell your 30-year-old self one money move, what would it be? The urgency mindset, why panic is useful. There are 2 types of panic, the kind that paralyzes you and the kind that propels you. In your 40s, with retirement looming and savings lagging, you're going to feel panic. The question is which type you choose. Destructive panic looks like ignoring statements, avoiding calculations, pretending everything's fine while secretly terrified. That panic keeps you frozen while time runs out. Productive panic looks like, holy crap, I need to fix this now. Immediate action, aggressive saving, side income launched, debt attacked. This panic creates urgency that drives results. Here's the truth. Being scared about your financial future in your 40s isn't a character flaw. It's a rational response to math. You should be concerned. The difference between people who catch up and people who don't isn't the presence of fear. It's what they do with it. Use the fear. Let it wake you up at 5 a.m. to work on that side business. Let it keep you from buying things you don't need. Let it fuel discipline you didn't have in your 30s. Being scared means you understand what's at stake. Now, channel it into action instead of anxiety. I'll tell you something that many people regret for the rest of their lives, just because they didn't realize it in time. They treated their 40s like an extension of their 30s instead of recognizing it for what it actually is. The 10-year sprint. Why this decade matters more than the previous 3. Your 20s taught you, your 30s tested you, your 40s define you. This is the decade that determines whether you retire comfortably or work until you physically can't anymore. Why does this decade matter more? 3 reasons stacked. First, you're in your peak earning years. Your salary is likely higher now than it's ever been. If you're not converting that peak income into peak savings, you're wasting your advantage. Second, you still have compound interest on your side, but barely. Money you invest at 45 still has 20 years to double twice before retirement. Wait until 55, it only doubles once. The math gets brutal fast. Third, you have clarity you didn't have before. You know what matters, you know what's waste. You're not distracted by the same things that derailed you at 30. That clarity is a weapon if you use it. This is your 10-year sprint, not a marathon, a sprint. Maximum effort, maximum focus, maximum discipline. Because after this decade, you're not building wealth anymore. You're managing what you built or scrambling to survive on what you didn't. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss the last detail. Because everything I've said assumes you're starting from scratch, but you're not. The ultimate truth, you're not building from zero, you're accelerating from momentum. Here's the advantage you have at 40 that 25-year-olds don't. You're not starting from zero. You have experience, you have earning power, you have skills, you have clarity about what works and what doesn't. You're not building, you're accelerating. A 25-year-old has time but no money and limited earning capacity. You have less time but actual income and proven abilities. Different advantages. Yours can catch up faster if you deploy them right. You know how to work. You know how to negotiate. You know how to deliver value. Those aren't small things. They're accelerators. A 25-year-old needs 15 years to develop those skills. You already have them. So stop thinking like you're behind and starting over. You're not starting over, you're finishing strong. You're using urgency plus resources plus experience to build in 10 years what took others 20. The best time to start building wealth was 20. The second best time was 30. But the most intense, focused, efficient time? That's 40. Because you finally have all the ingredients: urgency, income, experience, and clarity. You're not starting over, you're accelerating for momentum. Now use it. 7 moves. 1 decade. The difference between a comfortable retirement and working until you're 70. You're not too late, but you are out of runway to waste time. Here's what you do this week. Calculate your retirement gap using the 6 times salary rule. Max your catch-up contributions if you're 50 plus. Pick your highest interest debt and attack it with everything extra. Start one side income stream this month. Not someday, this month. Comment wealth at 40 if you're committed to making this decade count. Hit that subscribe button for more 40-plus wealth strategies without the sugarcoating. Share this with someone in their 40s who needs the wake-up call. What should I break down next? Real estate investing after 40? Side income ideas that actually work? Aggressive debt payoff strategies? Drop your requests below. Remember, your 20s were for learning, your 30s were for earning, your 40s are for building, and your 50s and beyond? Those are for enjoying the wealth you built when it mattered most. You've got 1 decade to get this right. Make it count.